What up, good people? Come on in, sit on down. Don't take them shoes off though, because I'm likely to offend, so you may not hang around that long. If you don't know who I am, I'm Rook the Great. And just in case you're wondering who the hell told me I'm great, well, I'm wondering who the hell told you that you were not. But, better question. If you not great, then what are you? What do you tell yourself? If you don't say you great, then what do you say? What are you, sucker? I'm not great. I just came here to work for the great. I'm not great. I just came to be slaves of the greats. I'm not great. I just came to observe the greats. I mean, what do you tell yourself? I'm just wondering. Out of all the things that you could be, you decide. How are you the loser in your own fucking story? You got this blank slate. You got I got this big whiteboard in front of me, right? Blank slate. You got all the finest dry erase markers. Is that what they call? Whatever you like. Every color. Someone says, this is your writing room. You are the main character in this story. Construct it however you see fit. And out of all the scenarios you can come up with, you decided in your story to be the loser. Do you see how insane that sounds? Do you see how insane that is? When I hear people talk about percentages, right? Statistics. It could be anything. It could be illness, right? It's like, oh, so-and-so is dealing with this illness. There's only a 40% chance of survival. They got this type of cancer. Okay. Why would your mind automatically go to the losing percentage? Throwing around the whole marriage thing and the percentage, this amount of people get divorced, whatever the case may be. Why would your mind automatically associate with the losing percentage? What's wrong with you? You're broken. Your mind is broken. If I'm putting together a story, if I'm the one, I understand when other people put the story together. Cool, I got that, right? But if I'm the one constructing the story, you damn right I'm going to be the winner. You damn right I'm the great. You damn right I'm the champion. What else would I be? I find that funny when people ask, like, athletes or, very talented entertainers, who do they think is the great? Who the hell do they suppose to think is the great? Well, like, if I'm a basketball player, you want me to think that somebody else is great? What are you? Oh, good people. Come on. We got to do better. This is why I get annoyed with our conversations. I get annoyed with you, this obsession with white people and the man and the system and what they did, because you ain't started with the basics. Self-concept, how you see you. I don't care about that stemmed from what the white men. Shut up, bruh. Shut up. Damn. Just losers. You can't even hear the loserness in you. Can't even hear it. I let somebody go the other day. They was having a moment. And I knew I knew that they needed the moment. Normally, I don't let people take me down their road of pity. I'm going to put a stop to it. Like, you can go there, but I ain't going with you. But I felt like they needed it in this instance. So I let them go. And what my intention was, my hope was that they would hear themselves, that they would catch it. Because the story just got worse and worse. They just kept building. I'm just listening. They had a story. They had a story that they've been telling for a very long time. And no matter what, it wasn't their fault. And it was other people. And it was jobs. And it's too hard to do this. And this is how it works. And this is how it doesn't. And it was speaking with such conviction. See, conception, the idea, what you see here, plus the conviction equals creation. Everybody want to talk about like being a great manifester. You already are. Just look in your life. I love talking to myself like that. Like, look at you, Rook. Look at what you done created. Ta-da! But I let them have it. I let them until they were finished. And it was like, well, I already know what you're going to say. What I'm going to say? You going to say it's me. Who else would it be? You the common denominator. In all the scenarios that you've given, you are the common denominator. Who else would it be, Nick? What else would I say? Why don't you want the responsibility? Like, why don't you want ownership? If it's your house and you own it, you can pretty much do whatever you want. You can knock some walls out on the inside. You can paint something. You can add an extra bedroom. You can add a sunroom. Why you just want to rent when you can own? See, when you rent, you got to ask permission. You got to ask if that's okay. And more likely than not, it's not going to be okay. Our minds are messed up, man. Our minds are broken. And the conversations that we're having confirm that. All of these dumb, I keep coming back. I swear I don't want to go in this lane, right? But I keep coming back to these relationship conversations because they are the most insane that I've ever seen in my life. But they confirm where we are at an individual level. We're broken people. So, of course, our relationships are going to be broken. Our perspective about life is jacked up. So, of course, our perspective about relationships are going to be jacked up. Of course. But the disconnect with each other only reflects the disconnect with, you know, ta-da, within. The deeper you get into self, the closer you get to your own heart, the closer you can get to someone else, the greater experience you can have with someone else. And basically, that's what we talk about real briefly, right? The problem with knowing too much. The problem with awareness. Now, you could be thinking, Rook, I don't think that's an issue because people are getting dumber. It's not that they know too much. They don't know nothing. I understand what you're saying. I get that. And on one side of it, you're right. That's not what we're talking about, though. It's the whole idea of awareness. The idea of awareness is if I bring it to your attention, then we can do something about it. Let's have cancer awareness. Let's have diabetes awareness. Let's have Alzheimer awareness, right? Universal law suggests otherwise. This is so challenging for humans to understand that you don't help by putting your attention on it. Like, okay, let me give you an example. It's probably not a good example, but I'm going to give it anyway. I used to love roller coasters. I mean, the biggest, the baddest, the most insane, all of them. And one of my aunts was crazy because she liked them too. So we would go together. And she was the only adult that I could get to get on these rides with me. I never had a thought of anything going wrong. I never had a thought of it being dangerous. I never had a thought of something going awry. Never. And then guess what I did? I grew up. And now first of all, I don't even like amusement parks anymore. But I'll go sometimes. Now that intellectual mind goes to work. Okay? I'm being smart. I'm combing out the scene. I'm looking at the workers. I'm looking at the inspection folks. What do they look like? Do they know what they look? Do they look like they know what the hell they're doing? I'm looking for the inspection stickers. I'm considering all the worst case scenarios, right? And I know that this is what I'm doing. See, I know thyself. I know this is what I'm doing. I know this goes against what I know to do, but I'm doing it anyway. I can't not do it, right? I get on one of the last times that I went to the amusement park. I get on the ride, and everybody's chattering, getting ready, and I'm like getting into focus mode. Like, okay, all right, analyzing. Not there to have a good time. Not there to think about how this is gonna be so fun, and I can't wait to know. Thinking about what happens if this damn wheel fly off. Just insane thinking. This is how we do in real life. It sounds crazy. This is how we operate in real life. We don't get in for the ride. We don't get in to enjoy. We don't get in for this to be an exhilarating time. No, we step into the ride of life. No, it is analyzing worst case scenario. It is analyzing how this is going to go wrong and how I have to be a smart human in order to figure out how to avoid it going wrong. Basically, you create the scenario that you don't want because you assume that it will go wrong. You assume that it will go bad. And that's what it does. You know too much. You know too much. This is the trap of intellect. This is the trap of the intellectual mind. This is why if I got to choose one or the other and I get into it, I get into intellectual, I get into, the studying and the analyzing. I don't know how not to do it, honestly. Sometimes I want to turn it off. But if I'm left with two choices, if I got to make a decision and I got to choose between intellect and intuition, I'm going with intuition. Where the world goes wrong is they're going with the intellect. It's intelligence. We got to see if it makes sense. There are people who sometimes send me different things, like friends of mine who get into the science of things, and I get into it too. I'm not against it, but I know where I'm gonna cut it off because there is a limit. It can't take you but so far, and you'll get caught up in this world of it's like plant medicine. Humans refuse to accept that plants have consciousness, and that consciousness of the plant speaks to the consciousness of a particular part in your body. We have no way for science to prove that, so we just dismiss it. But I don't care how many studies you do, you ain't gonna be able to prove that, or at least not yet. So what do? Just dismiss it? Oh, I know what we do. I know, pick me. We just say it's placebo. Well, call it whatever you want. And I don't have a problem with placebo because that's, again, the assumption. It's assuming. It is what really happened. This is for everything. Everything that we do is about putting you in a suggestive state. If you go to a doctor and by you being at the doctor, it puts you in a suggestive state of healing. If you are willing to accept that the chemo is helping you, then it helps you. That's the way it works. Yes, that goes for herbs too. Goes for anything. What do you assume is helping you? What do you assume is harming you? And I'm just under the belief and the thought process and the idea that what happens when I frame my mind that all of the world is working on my behalf. All is working in my favor. The system worked for me. What you talking about? What? Nah, because it don't matter. Because see what they do to the real ones. They don't do shit to the real ones. Nah, they support the real ones. They prop me up. They my foot soldiers. See, you don't believe that though. You don't believe that. I can hear the tension on the inside. I can hear it. You don't believe that. Because to prove, see, your intellectual mind, see, you know too much. Because the first thing that happens is your stupid little mind take you back to where you got proof. I know on your bookshelf, you got all these books that prove. See, Rook, this is what happened in 1850. This is what happened in 1888. This is what happened in 1922. This is the proof, Rook. I don't care about your proof. I don't care about your human proof. I'm talking to the gods. So this is not a human conversation, right? So if you haven't left already, you might need to exit at this point. I'm talking to the gods. It is whatever you say it is, but you don't believe that, do you? See, you don't assume that you have the power to declare the thing that is not as if it was. You don't. See, when the good book says, Matthew 18:2, it might be 3. I tell you the truth that unless you become like little children, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven. Well, what's the kingdom of heaven? Well, Luke 17:21, they were asking Jesus. They were asking Jesus like, yo, how we gonna know? What's the signs of the kingdom coming? Jesus was like, there are no signs. He said the kingdom doesn't come from observation. You're not going to be able to look high or look low and say, oh, there it is. He said the kingdom is within. Okay, so let's rewind. If unless I become like a child, I won't enter the kingdom, and the kingdom is within, oh, snap. The treasure chest that I need, that I want, the abundance, the exceptional life, where there is no illness, where there is no pain, where there is not lack of love, right? Where there is happiness, where there is peace, there is fulfillment, there is purpose, there is meaning. That treasure chest is on the inside. But I can't get to it unless I become like little children. Well, what are little children? What do little children have that we lack? I was talking to my niece the other day, and I love chatting with her because she's so inquisitive, right? And she's just a sponge essentially, and she has questions. And just the innocence of being able to look through that lens, right? So I kind of get to relive that through her. And I was telling her, I said, children have special powers that adults forget that they have. She's like, really? Yeah. It's like, yeah, children have magic. And adults have it too, but they forget. I said, so you got to try to remember, that it's this invisible bag beside you. That's where all your magic is. But if you ever lose it, you can always pull another one out of your chest. You just pull another one out. You just pull another one out. You just pull another one out, right? And when you become like a child, like no matter what you do to children, what we call resiliency. There is something about how they see things that they still see the love in all things. They see righteousness. They see the rightness in you. Despite how you act, despite how you might even treat them, they see all that is good, all that is perfect, all that is lovely, all that is honest, all that is pure, all that is of good report. That's what they think. They think on those things. Something is pulling them forward. They're not stuck in the past, right? They're not replaying the story of pity. They don't wake up in the morning and think about all of what they don't have. No, there is joy for the new day to come. There's excitement. There's Their eye stays on the prize. What does that look like? When all you can see is love. Because that's essentially what it is. They see through the eyes of God. That's what little children have. Unless you become like that, you ain't entering. I'm just here to tell you, you cut off. To the fellas, because I saw some interesting things circulating this weekend. You are fools. God, y'all are fools. And you following fools. You don't even know how limited you are. Can you accomplish great things? Yeah. But you trying to win in life without love. Poor thing. Poor thing. You're going to learn the hard way. And that's okay, because that's what this moment is calling for. The moment is calling for lessons. And guess what we going to get, baby? We getting lessons. You can't cut yourself off from the flow and think you're going to get, like, you don't get to heaven, my friend. You don't get to heaven that way. By closing yourself off. Y'all got all these little rules, and I ain't got no problem with the rules. Some of the rules I would tell my son. I ain't got no problems with the rules. It's the fact that we aren't given a ... to the rules. There's not an asterisk that says, however, please note. It's just a one and done. That I'm going to operate from the surface, and I want somebody else to operate from the surface, and that's how I'm going to win. That's why you miserable. That's why you lonely. You could get all the worldly success, but ain't nothing like that pain of being alone. You could be around hundreds of people, thousands of people who love you, but you still feel alone. The world can't fix that, my friend. Money can't fix that, my friend. Status can't fix that, my friend. A Rolex can't fix that, my friend. A drop top can't fix that, my friend. I want you to have all those things if you so desire. You're going to have to go deeper than that. And I think it's a whole nother discussion, but what's really bothering men right now is that the more women move back into their heart space, they're saying we ain't accepting anything less than that from you. You can't stay on the surface while I'm going deeper. There's a conflict. And when y'all say stuff like, oh, you just gonna die by yourself, women are saying, I'd rather, nigga, than to put up with that, to deal with that, a soulless experience. Yeah, I'd rather die alone. Thank you. Be blessed. That's what bothers you. Like, I want to know, like, who really got the problem here? Is she the problem because she's saying she'll rather tap out than to deal with this? Or are you really the one bothered? Because you want her presence. You need her presence. We could talk about it another day. There are discussions to be had. It's just a lot of foolishness. And when you have people who are not doing the work, we're going to speak based on our own limited perspectives and understanding. It's people out here winning. It's people out here really leveling up. But what we talking about? See, you know too much. You guys know too much. The internet is giving you all the worst case scenarios and giving you all the examples of worst case scenarios, and you're taking that and you're internalizing it. And you've decided that I'm going to be a smart person. I'm going to be a smart man and a smart woman, and I'm going to safeguard against all of these things. And then that's going to give me a leg up. Okay. I'm for it. See, I'm not of the mindset. And this bothers certain people, like even in my family when it comes to the kids. When I say kids, like, under 25. Let them kids learn. Some things you got to get out in life. And in life, you got to tangle with life a little bit. You got to dance with life a little bit. And things start to come open for you. Let them figure some things out. They all right. The same thing that kept you going to keep them. They all right. They ain't off track. They right where they supposed to be. You know too much. your knowledge is going to be the death of you. Your knowledge is going to be the reason why you don't get what you want. Everything you're going to find comes back to that one word, surrender. Like, you got to forego. Like, it's all of what you think. You got to let it go. There has to be a release of this old story. You see how that theme keeps coming up about the story. Nigga, tell a new story. Let it go. You know too much. Your knowing keeps you cut off. Your knowing of all the ways this could go wrong, all the ways this could be to my detriment, all the ways that I could be foolish. Because we never want to be foolish, right? We want to use wisdom, and that's good advice. That's a good way to approach it until it no longer is. This is about elevation. Certain things will serve you when you're operating at a lower frequency. It will. There are certain things that bothered me as I started to shift. And this is really current day as well. I could depend on some like my physical weapons. There's something about the doing that I operate really well in, or I have in the past. But as I started to shift spiritually, I couldn't refer back to that anymore. It didn't work. Well, I would try to just pound it and force it. The doing. When your spirit is calling you to be, the doing is not going to help you. No matter how much you do, you're going to run yourself ragged. You're going to run yourself fucking crazy. Keep doing. I'm going to do more. I'm going to do more. And I think you should do it. I think you got to try it out. You got to try it out. See for yourself. Keep doing. Keep pounding it. Keep trying to make it. And you'll continue to do it until you finally collapse. Like, I got nothing else, and this is not even working. That's how you know you're not in the flow. You shouldn't have to do all that and still be coming up short. Something is off. Something is wrong. You know too much, my friend. You know too much. That's the trap of the intellectual mind. That's the trap. That's why I keep it limited. I remember early on getting into all of this health stuff and getting into healing. And one of my teachers said, stop reading. and knowledge is important, right? Knowledge helps fill the gap. It helps you kind of bring things full circle. So I'm like, what do you mean? Like, you don't understand that every book you read, you're taking on someone else's perspective. There's a new perspective that's being introduced, and that new perspective is pretty much, it depends on that person's experiences. So you'll find yourself confused. You go more crazy when you could have just said, okay. And that's what I love about whenever I'm in deep study and I'm cross-referencing, and everything that I'm cross-referencing is contradicting each other. I got to go to the source. The books can't help me there. I ain't looking for no more physical evidence. I got to go to the source. The source gonna clarify that thing every time. Gonna move me into, boom, this is what it is. Even if I don't have the evidence, I don't need the evidence. See, you need the evidence. You need the physical evidence. You need to see the effect before you see the cause. I'm a cause type of lady. That's what I like. Show me from there. Show me what's really making things unfold the way they are in this physical experience. And what I've learned is every single time, all is mind, the universe is mental. 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 So it still comes back to me every freaking time. Like I'm this master director. that at any moment I can shift things. At any moment I can put my attention on something else. At any moment I can start to create another scene, create another story, create another version. And guess what? Make me the winner in that version. Make me the captain in that version. Make me the great in that version. I ain't never gonna be the loser in my own damn story. I might be the loser in your story if that's the story that you telling, but I ain't gonna be the loser in my story. Nah. Hell no. Hell no. Does that make sense? You know too much. Less knowing. I know. It sounds contradictory. But we're talking about the knowing of the physical mind, not the knowing that comes from divine mind. Those are two different things. Unless you become like children, you'll never enter the kingdom. Think about it. Peace.